See, went to high school in Breckenridge High School in San Antonio. I worked part-time, I mean, they give you time to do I sell shoes, with the shoe store. It's 250 of us that were drafted that day. And I had a towel, and I'm walking around with each, I did my physical, and then we stood in a line, and the first guy that got a crack at you was Marine. He said, "How about joining the Marine, son?" I said, "No, I want to go in the Navy." He said, "Go on up, the Army will take you." And so I went on up, and sure enough, he wouldn't take me in the Navy. He said, "Hey, we're overloaded in the Navy." I said, "Oh, you got to have one more." He said, "Put you in the Coast Guard." And I said, "What's Coast Guard?" And there was one over there sitting there writing. He said, "There's one. Go talk to him." And they gave me tickets to catch a train and go to Florida. And I was sitting with this guy, and he said, I asked him, I said, "You know where the Coast Guard base is?" He said, "Yeah, I'm going right by it. I'll walk with you." So we got off that train. We walked to the hotel, and he said, "There it is." And it was right downtown. But we marched down the streets with all the kids and all the women and all the, if you meet a girl, they'd come to our parties sometimes. And it was really great. And I could see the Orchid. It was in dry dock.
That was your ship?
That was the ship. That was my... all the buoy tenders were flowers. And it was work. But it was a good bunch of people. I've heard, where you go in and you don't know somebody or you don't meet them, but we were close-knit. We stood up for each other. I was new on there, and all the guys wore shorts and pair of tennis shoes. I know one time I bought some new pants, and I put my rope through them and threw them overboard so they'd get salty. And I lost all 3 pair. We were to set the buoys. Now, as far as we had, on fantail, we had depth charges. But the skipper said, if we drop one of those skippers, we're not fast enough to get off of it. Every time there was a convoy leaving, we were busy. We had to do search work, and then lay buoys to be organized. See, the Orchid went into Baltimore. They took all the ammunition, all the equipment, fighting stuff off all the cannon. So they put me on the patrol of New York Harbor. It was a 45-footer, and it had a company of 8 at the time. It was 2 crews. One would come, because they stayed all night. We had to patrol night and day. The only time we ever stopped was pick up food or drop somebody off. Most of the people in there were from New York. And they told me that if I'd cook, I didn't have to eat it, just cook and keep care of the groceries. Now, I had to go buy them that they used. And they'd drop me off any place I wanted to drop off in New York. Being sure boats were in the way of those 2, the Queen and they were coming in there every 5, they could come across in 5 days. And if they hit this coal ship and sunk it, but it was sticking out in the way. And it didn't slow it down. It was just their loss. Because of that, the Queen Mary or one, whatever, there's 2 of them. Oh, one interesting thing, in fact, I made the New York paper. We got the call that a bunch of kids had picked up a raft and was going to sea. And so our job was to go catch them and bring them back. And we did. And they were having a ball. Except when we got back there, everybody in New York was waiting for them. All the police, all the papers, and so I even got my picture in the paper.